Hey there, listeners. This is Carrie.
And Mackenzie.
Before today's episode, we want to remind you that the content in this episode is not intended as medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment.
The use of the information on today's podcast is at the user's own risk. Listeners should contact their doctor or other qualified medical providers for medical advice.
Now roll the intro. Thanks for listening. Please enjoy.
Kindle tablets or whatever. I know. But there's only certain things that you can put on because of it's an Apple tablet versus a Android. You know, certain games and certain apps. Why is this not working, Carrie? I screwed up, Carrie. What's new? No, yet. I'm just joking.
Yet.
We're recording, by the way. It's all right. Well, this isn't the important part.
I think this is the best part.
The nonsense we say at the beginning.
The nonsense at the beginning and finding out what we're watching next.
Yeah.
What comes in between doesn't really...
It's hogwash.
Rank for me. Just,
Bottom of the barrel. Our opinions, our thoughts, our feelings don't matter.
I mean, no.
No, not at all. All right. Carrie.
Kenzie.
Audience, welcome to the Much Madness podcast.
Oh, is that where we are?
Yeah, that's where we are. In another dimension, another universe, talking about movies once again.
We are on a different plane. And
Always.
it's not, or a circle of hell. We're not sure.
Let's do Circle of Hell. I like that theory. You and I have talked about my aspirations for writing a book about, hell and demons and things like that. Story for another time, people who are listening to this episode. But today we're going to be talking about a beloved film.
Oh my God, I love this movie.
Lots of people love this movie.
Yeah.
And you would think you wouldn't love this movie.
And you would think you would be embarrassed to say that you love it.
You would think that, there'd be some shame associated with how much this movie is beloved.
And I will say, I stand by that Dr. Lecter would be an amazing dinner guest at a party as long as he didn't bring anything to share.
Yeah.
Or try to help in the kitchen.
Yeah, because then there's some accidental
what happened
cannibalism.
To the cook?
I know.
Don't know.
Spoilers, people, about, there's going to be lots of spoilers with this movie, but...
And have you read the book?
No. It's been, okay, we've talked about yours and mine, our TBR lists and how long they are, but no, it's on there. It's just not... The thing is, I do... So I like books that are... fictional books about murders. I like true crime books, too, as well. That's one genre of reading that I like to enjoy. But as we've talked about before on this podcast and off mic, I'm just, into my fantasy world. So that's what I've just been reading 99% of the time. And there might be, a nonfiction book here and there. And I read Susanna Kayson's Girl Interrupted. That was probably the first kind of memoir I've read in a while, but 99% of the time I'm reading a fantasy novel, but it's on my TBR list, so.
Okay, so the books are in a different order than the movies.
Yes.
So Red Dragon is first.
Yes.
Granted, it was at a time in my life where I didn't have much to do, so I just sat down and read them all.
One does, Carrie.
And they're excellent.
Yeah. I think I don't think they're talked about enough because everyone I've talked to that's read it has said that they're well written and it's a good story and
I think people focus more on Anthony Hopkins and Jodie Foster's performances. And
we're going to talk about that today, but how could you not? Iconic. So the movie we're talking about today is The Silence of the Lambs. I picked it last time, so are you okay with me taking the lead or?
Oh yeah, I don't want to be in charge. I have my notes.
Only when we have to be.
Yeah.
Okay. So, it came out in 1991. As Carrie had just mentioned, the starring roles go to Jodie Foster as FBI agent in training, because she's technically not a full-blooded agent. Agent in training, Clarice Starling. And then the villain is Dr. Hannibal Lecter, played by Sir Anthony Hopkins. At the time, He was not a sir.
However, and I'm sure he's listening, he appreciates you put the sir.
I think I would. If
I had ever gotten
a dame, would you not want to be dame?
I think I'm a dame now.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Do you mean...
I'm a broad.
Yes.
One of those 1940s His Girl Friday broads.
Yep. Absolutely. But yeah, I think if I was a dame, I'd want it mentioned all the time. So, sorry.
Well, Maggie Smith is dead. Maybe you can have hers.
Is that how that works? Is that
No, not at all.
Because if it does, then I am behind the game.
I've always said if I would have gone on to get my PhD, that I would just change my first name to Doctor, and you had to call me that all the time. Because you work so hard for stuff.
Absolutely.
So
you do. You put in a lot of effort for it. And I think when you get something like a night ship and you're recognized for your work, and I think there's a lot, I mean, again, this would be a rabbit hole we could go down another time, Carrie, but I do wonder, like, the people who are knighted, because a lot of them seem to be people who are in the public eye or who are, like, performers in a way. I mean,
yeah, it's like a Grateful Nation thanks thee for
yeah, because it's like Sir Patrick Stewart and Sir Ian McKellen, like they're all very well known British actors.
And I think the criteria is they had to have added something significant to the culture.
I wonder.
And I do know that they do knight everyday people, ordinary people who have done great things, but the media would never care. No. You know.
When I'm Googling at the right now, as we speak, why Anthony Hopkins was knighted. Yeah, just basically, like you said, his contributions to the performing arts. It was in 1993. So I truly wonder if it has to do with this movie.
It might be. He won the Oscar.
He won the Oscar. Okay, so let's talk more about the movie. So it came out in 1991. As Carrie said, it's based off of a book by author Thomas Harris, of a different name. Or was it? Or is it Silence of the Lambs?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, okay. So the same title.
Yeah.
But like you said, it's a different order.
Yeah, all the titles are the same, I believe.
I wonder why they chose to do this one first and they produced Red Dragon later. Interesting.
Well, here's a little interesting tidbit for you.
Okay.
Back in the early it had to have been the 1980s, early 80s. There was a Silence of the Lambs movie made. It was released. People liked it.
Never knew this.
It was under a different name called Manhunt.
Oh.
And the man who played Gil Grissom on CSI.
Oh,
no, it was Manhunt is Red Dragon. It was Red Dragon. Sorry, guys. It was Red Dragon, and Gil Grissom played Will, whoever Edward Norton played. What was his character? Will.
I don't remember. He's another FBI agent.
Yeah, who had he's the man who caught Hannibal Lecter.
Right. I know, we're getting so confused. We're confusing people because it's a different movie. But yeah, I mean.
But anyway, there are. I think it's interesting that there were other movies, but once Anthony Hopkins came in and you knew Hannibal Lecter was amazing.
Yeah.
Like how well he played him.
Yeah.
That I think that's what sparked the interest in all the books.
Yeah.
And they probably were like, oh, we can make money off it now.
Well, it was considered a sleeper hit because the movie in 1991, with a budget of only $19 million, it grossed in box office. So I don't know how long it ran for, but in box office for $272.7 million worldwide. So, I mean, that's quite a bit of profit off of a more low budget
Especially
movie.
in 91.
Yes. It premiered at the 41st Berlin International Film Festival, and then it won 5 Academy Awards. As Carrie had said, Jodie Foster won Best Actress, Anthony Hopkins won Best Actor. It also won Best Director.
Jonathan Demme.
Best Adapted Screenplay for Ted Talley was the screenwriter. And then it won... Oh, it also won Best Picture. Which I didn't realize that until now. I'm looking at my notes. I had written that down, but I mean, I think it's, I don't know, this in the history of the Academy Awards, I wonder if it was the only horror film to win Best Picture or win that many awards, you know? Because it's considered it's considered a psychological horror movie. Yeah. It's in that category. It's a drama. It's a psychological drama, but it's a thriller. And especially because of some aspects of the movie, it is considered a horror movie, which Carrie and I will discuss a little bit about these aspects that could consider it a horror movie. But it's just interesting that it's probably one of the only horror movies to ever won Best Picture and also all these awards. So
I'm going to look it up.
You Google that. But Anthony Hopkins and Jodie Foster are the top names of the film. There's other actors. Scott Glenn plays Jack Crawford, who we see a little bit throughout the movie. I mean, he's one of the people that kind of moves along the story because, he's a person who...
he's head of the behavioral analysis unit.
Right.
Which was newer at that time.
Right.
It was before Criminal Minds, so nobody really knew what that was.
I have notes about the history of that.
Excellent.
So,
let's hear it.
Yeah, so since we're on that topic, let's talk about it. So, the setup of this story is Clarice Starling, played by Jodie Foster, is in the FBI Academy at Quantico. She is a student. She's interested, as we learn in the first few, moments of the movie, she is interested in the behavioral analysis unit. That's where she would like to be placed when she graduates the academy. What?
Is that what it was originally called?
So it was originally called the Behavioral Science Unit back in 1972. So that's when it was officially established. It now is called, its official title now is Behavioral Research and Instruction Unit. But it was...
Well, that doesn't roll off the tongue.
No, but it was known for a long time as the BAU, which is what it gets referred to a lot in pulp culture because it got, in 1997, it was then transformed into Behavioral Analysis Unit, and then it got a specifier as, some places it's BAU 5. So I don't know what that means. I think there might be different teams per se. I have no idea.
Yeah.
Anyone who's listening that works for the FBI and wants to illuminate us and explain why there is some places where it says 5, feel free to.
Yeah, I would love to know more about that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but it was originally the Behavioral Science Unit. And there is a show on Netflix called Mindhunter, one of my favorites. It's about the creation of this unit. It's mostly historically accurate, I believe, because Dr. Ann Burgess, who is still alive and actually still speaks on this topic about being involved in the early years of the unit, she's on the show. She is portrayed by an actress. There's also actors who play Robert Ressler and then John E. Douglas. I think he's on Broadway.
Oh, Jonathan Groff.
Jonathan Groff. Doesn't he play John Douglas?
Yeah, he plays one of the agents.
Yeah, I think he plays John Douglas. He plays John because Robert Ressler's played by a different actor in the show.
I was actually like, well, that's not a musical.
I know.
Because I love Jonathan Groff.
He's great.
He's fantastic. So I was excited, and I'm like, oh.
It's a different role for him. Mm-hmm. But it's great. So yeah, if you're interested in the beginnings of the BAU or the Behavioral Sciences Unit, or as it's called now, the Behavioral Research and Instruction Unit, that show, Mindhunter, is great. And I heard rumors that they're going to do a 3rd season. So if you haven't seen the show, there's 2 seasons. The first season is perfect. Second season is very interesting. I didn't like it as much as the first season, but there's supposedly a 3rd season. And they were holding off on doing it because of how expensive the show had gotten, because it's very well done.
Yeah, that's what I had heard, was that it was they couldn't afford to.
Right. The budget. But I think enough people have...
if they can't, if Paramount can't handle Colbert, then I don't know how they'll handle making another season of...
Well...
Actually, is that Paramount or Netflix?
It's Netflix is right? Mindhunter, yeah.
Okay.
But Carrie, the Colbert situation, we all know what that is an indicator of, and it's not financial, so...
No, it's another F word.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a way to put it. Anyway, so Silence of the Lambs, it's well received. There is some criticism, which I want to get into later as we're talking about different aspects of the movie. I had some questions for you about what you thought about certain things. People that have over the years criticized the movie for one reason or another. But looking in general how the movie is perceived, and this is according to the Wikipedia article about the movie, and it's, the sources are cited in this article on Wikipedia about basically what I'm going to reread here in a second, but, it says here that The Silence of the Lambs is regularly cited by critics, film directors, and audiences as one of the greatest and most influential films of all time. And
it is the only one to have won an Oscar, the only horror film.
Is it?
I looked it up. They've had 6 over the years who have been nominated. I
bet The Shining was one of them. Was it one of them? Mm-mm. Damn it. Okay, what are they?
Black Swan.
Oh, yeah, that's great. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Get Out.
Yep, another good one, which I haven't seen. I've seen Black Swan, haven't seen Get Out.
There are a couple of more. I don't know. Oh, wait.
Do you still have it?
I kept the tab open.
Great.
The Exorcist.
Oh, yeah,
Jaws.
Not surprised.
Silence of the Lambs. Sixth Sense.
Oh,
Which I would not categorize as a horror film.
I wouldn't either.
A ghost story, but...
I just think, horror...
And Get Out.
Yeah. So. I don't know. That's a good question. Now I'm thinking about it, how I would categorize it.
Some of these are on our list.
I know, right? But yeah, it's in its own... It kind of has its own place then in film history, but... I'm just going to read this off really quick. According to Wikipedia, in 2018, Empire magazine ranked it as the 48th on its list of 500 greatest movies of all time. The American Film Institute rated it in 2007 as the 65th greatest film of all time and the 5th greatest thriller. Hannibal Lecter and Clarice Starling are among the greatest in film history, heroines and villains. I think we've talked about before, but I think with the most rankings, I think Anthony Hopkins is rated with Hannibal Lecter as he's the number one villain of all time. I'm pretty sure, because of this movie. And then
he is, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, and then the American Film Institute. Okay. So this is the National Association. Is it the one that puts on the Academy Awards? The American Film Institute?
Well, I know that Hollywood Foreign Press Association does the Golden Globes.
Right. And then...
AFI, because, when you go to look up information about the Oscars, you go to Oscars.com.
Right.
It may be the Academy of Motion Pictures.
Oh, you're right. It is the Academy of Motion Pictures. Okay. So I'm not sure in what relation the American Film Institute is, but I think that might be the premier... maybe it's the premier educational body, what have you. Anyway, in 2008 or 2007, I don't know the year, but anyway, they have, again, Hannibal Lecter is the number one film villain of all time, according to the American Film Institute. Again, I don't know if they've changed these rankings. Clarice Starling, according to the American Film Institute, is the 6th greatest hero or heroine of a film. Number 6, which... So I'm going to be real honest. This is going to be my first hot take. I love Clarice. I don't know if I would rank her number 6.
No.
I think... I think...
Maybe top 20, but...
Maybe top 25. I don't know. I feel like there's lots of other movies I could think of where there's a heroine or a hero that is up against a supervillain that I feel like, has better...
Name one.
I don't... You're putting me on the spot.
I knew as soon as I said it, you were going to be like, damn it.
This is going to bother me. Well, because I'm thinking about the movie now. I have to... Let me come back to this.
Okay.
How about this? You can challenge me. Are you going to challenge me?
With what?
To name 25 more...
Like a duel?
Well, yeah, right. Get your pistol out, Carrie. I could probably name 25 better heroes or heroines before Clarice.
Okay.
We'll do it for the next episode.
No, I think we need to do it right now.
No, but I'm thinking of the movie. I have to think about other movies. I will get so off track if you make me think about other movies at this current time.
I know.
So I'll challenge, next episode I'll come up with 25 better ones that I think. But anyway, I still think it's a good juxtaposition between the two characters, okay, right? So like if you think about it, the premise of the movie is, how do we get Hannibal Lecter and Clarice Starling together? So what happens is Clarice is in the FBI Academy. They are looking for a serial killer that's not Hannibal Lecter. Because, like, as Carrie said, he's already been caught, right? He gets caught by Will, FBI agent, which we don't know his last name, who gets played by Ed Norton in another movie. And he's already in prison. Clarice is asked by her... It's not even her supervisor officer. He's head of the behavioral analysis unit, Jack Crawford. Clarice looks up to him. We see this in the first moments of the movie. She gets called down to his office, and he's basically like, hey, we're doing these interviews with serial killers, right? This is something that the behavioral analysis unit does. We know this as a fact, that this is something that the FBI does.
They like to go in and try to figure out background. How did these people in jail for these horrific crimes get there? Yeah,
like, why did they do it? They want to know motives and then also means. Like, how did they do this? Because as we know with serial killers, they're usually not caught after they have a few victims, right? Quite a few.
Yeah, you have to have 3 to be considered a serial killer.
Right. Are they 3 separate incidences, though? Or can you kill somebody?
Well, that would be a spree killing if you killed 3 at once.
Right. As you know, we know this, Carrie, you and I are experts, right? Obviously, in murder. And,
I don't...
that was a joke, people.
I blame Criminal Minds.
I mean, I love that show.
Oh, it's so good.
Yeah. Yeah, I think, it would have to be probably 3 separate murders then. Anywho, we won't get into too much of the details, but Clarice has been asked to interview Hannibal Lecter because he is in this realm, because Hannibal Lecter does not exist. I think I need to preface this, okay? Because I wanted to make a little note. In my research about this movie, it came up about how much Hannibal Lecter got mentioned in 2024 by...
Great guy. One of the best. They tried to put him in prison. He got out. He took vengeance on his enemies.
Yep.
This is a man that can inspire America.
So, yeah, Carrie is paraphrasing the words of, at that time, candidate for President Donald Trump. He spoke about it in 2024 as part of his election campaign. And
he would just go off at rallies about the great
Hannibal Lecter. Which he doesn't... Hannibal Lecter does not exist. Everybody who's listening to this podcast needs to know, if you've never seen this movie, you've never heard anything about the book...
Fictional character.
Yes, made up.
By Thomas Harris, who wrote the book.
Yes. Who was inspired... He was inspired by... I don't know the name of the guy, but he was inspired by a... Did you know about this? He was inspired... I read in my research, and again, I don't have the article pulled up, but the author of the novel, Thomas Harris. Thank you, Carrie. He... I think he used to be a journalist, or he used to have to interview people, and he interviewed a psychiatrist that was in Mexico. Mm-hmm. Do you know about this? Is this a fun fact for you? Oh my God, I know something that Carrie doesn't know.
This is a fun fact.
Okay, so he came up with the character of Hannibal Lecter because he interviewed a psychiatrist who, or maybe not a psychiatrist, he was a doctor. Oh my God, I'm getting my details wrong. Anyway, but he was in prison in Mexico and he had killed people, but he was considered to be like someone who looked after the other inmates and was like a very well-read, educated person, and was just very much different compared to the people that he was in prison with. Mm-hmm. And the author, Thomas Harris, was like really struck by him, and then came up with the idea about having a very elegant, educated man accused of horrific crimes and things like that. So
the fact that Hannibal is a psychiatrist is just... it's a lot.
What do you think about that? Because I have a question for you, because I did some research. What do you think about the fact that the main... We're going to say that Hannibal's the main guy. He is not the subject of the manhunt that goes on in this movie, but Hannibal Lecter is... He makes this movie, right?
Right.
He is caught. He's not the one who's committing these crimes that are happening throughout the movie. However, you know, he is a force to be reckoned with in this movie. What do you think about him being a psychiatrist?
Well, I'm trying... Okay, so when you go in and you have a therapist or a psychiatrist you've worked with for a long time, you are putting all your trust in this person. You are telling them things that maybe you've never told anyone else, or you discover things that maybe you had never told yourself. Mm-hmm. And first of all, that's a great way to manipulate people. Mm-hmm. But also, it gives Hannibal, and I see it when he talks to Clarice about the farm in Montana that she was sent to.
Spoilers, that's later in the movie, but yeah.
And he has a way of speaking to her and pushing her that is almost nurturing or soothing. Like, I'm like, this is a man who could get people to think up until the last minute that he's not going to kill them because he's a compassionate man.
Right, but then he can get under people's skin. There are moments when he gets...
Literally? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, pun not intended. Didn't think about that one as I was saying. But I mean, like, psychologically...
Yeah, and he can see people. Like, he can see motives. He can see, I mean, he obviously a very gifted man. Not, trust me, I've met psychiatrists who are not like that. And I just feel like,
yes, Carrie.
as long as he didn't kill me, I probably wouldn't mind him as a psychiatrist.
Right? I think this man could help me.
I don't know why, but I feel like he wouldn't kill me. We would be fine.
Yeah. So here's the thing. I was just like thinking about this movie. I've seen this movie many times. I probably, before we recorded today, probably didn't even need to rewatch the movie because I could have talked about it no matter what. However, I did rewatch it, and I was thinking as I was watching it this time, hadn't had this thought before. I was like, I wonder in reality, since a lot of this is based on actual things that occur in real life, how many murderers, killers, serial killers, whatever, have actually been psychiatrists in history or anywhere, at least in the United States.
I know one true crime story.
Oh.
About a psychiatrist.
Tell me about it, because I wasn't able to find anything. So the answer to my own question was I did some research and I couldn't find anything. So I did find an attempted murder by a psychiatrist, which I was going to bring up, that I could find, but I haven't found anybody who's been tried and convicted.
I think this might have been an episode of Snapped.
Okay, well, what do you remember the
It took
details?
place in California,
okay.
And it was that a psychiatrist, a man, he had, his wife had been his patient as a teenager. He ends up marrying her, throwing over the first wife, marrying her.
Okay.
Then he ends up in a similar situation a few years later with another young woman. So he's going to throw over that wife. Oh, you know what? It was that the psychiatrist was killed. But his wife, because of his hooking up with these young girls in his care, she ended up killing him and her. He had actually moved her into the guest house on their property.
Oh. Okay.
I'm going to have to look it up and see what all...
Follow up on that.
Yeah.
Okay. What I was able to find, because again, I wasn't able to find any of that, but what I was able to find was, and this is from an ABC News article from 2022, the actual event happened in 2012, so it was more recent, but what I could find was woman named Pamela Butchbinder. She was a psychiatrist in New York. She pled guilty because she convinced her cousin to attempt to kill her. I don't know if they were divorced at the time, but they were definitely going through a custody thing with their child, but it was her husband, Michael Weiss, who he did not die. It didn't end up happening, but it was...
I think there's an episode of Criminal Intent based on that.
Probably. But yeah, the cousin broke in and attempted to kill the husband. I think he survived the attack. I don't have a lot of details on it, but it was like the only thing I could find. She pleaded guilty, probably because she took a plea deal to the plot, and she got, 5 years in prison for that.
That's it?
Well, I think it's probably because he survived.
She hired. Well, yeah. And she hired.
She didn't actually do it, but yeah.
She solicited.
Well, and also, I know 5 years doesn't seem like a whole lot, but I mean, I wonder if they wanted just to get her behind bars as punishment, because if they had gone through trial, you know how trials can go. Yeah. Your hand is up. What do you want to say, Carrie?
So, Nadal Hassan was an army psychiatrist who killed 13 people in the Fort Hood mass shooting.
Oh, that's right. I totally forgot about that. I remember. Okay. Yes, I remember when this happened. I knew at the time he was a psychiatrist. That's just so interesting. I forgot about that because I remember that happening at the time because I was in school at the time. I was in school to become a psych nurse practitioner, and I remember hearing about that.
Yeah.
I wonder if there's more information about that. Anyway, so I guess it's not out of the realm of possibility to be a killer, murderer, and be a psychiatrist. They're not exclusively mutually exclusive. However, the odds are that other medical specialties, other doctors, like particularly surgeons or other, those people have been known to kill people, with intention,
Yeah.
by negligence, other things like that. But yeah.
According to the New York Times, in 1973, there was an arrest of a prison psychiatrist who was allegedly involved in a plot to have an inmate murder 3 people.
Oh. Where are you getting this information? My research skills are lacking.
Google.
Yeah, but I Googled as well. Google, you've let me down.
What words are you? It's all about how you set up your sentence.
How'd you phrase
I put
it?
in, are there any psychiatrists in prison for murder in America?
Oh.
And up they came.
I think I should have specified mine more clearly. I was Googling, are there any psychiatrists who have known have killed people? And then I got a bunch of articles that were opinion pieces about are psychiatrists killing people with medication and things like that. So, yeah, it's all about the question, isn't it, Carrie? It's all about the phrasing, wording, and
Did I
choices.
mention that I help people with that for a living?
You've mentioned it more than once, but...
Listen, it's the only thing I have going for me. Just let me have it.
Besides the podcast, obviously.
Obviously.
Yeah. Obviously.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, I've got the archive pulled up with the article.
Okay.
February 3rd.
Of what year?
1973.
73. Okay. Why don't you send it to me so I can read it later? Can you email it to me?
I can.
Great.
Now that I can do that.
Great. Anyway, we'll get back to the movie. So I was wondering about that because as we learn, because Clarice goes to this prison. It's like it's more. I think it's a mental hospital, right? But like, is it a prison? Is it a mental hospital?
I think it's a prison for the criminally insane.
Yeah,
and
but
then
it looks
the worst.
Right.
The worst of them, they might have regular psychiatric services and inpatient treatment up top.
It just looks like a hospital. It looks like all the hospitals we've seen in all the movies.
Except for that basement.
Well, that's a dungeon.
That is, I'm like, how far underground did you have to go to dig that out?
Well, it made me think of like, I wonder with that building, again, I don't know if this set, again, I did not research this part, but I don't know if the set was created to make it look like that way, or if they were using an actual building that had these cells down there, which look like dungeon cells. And then it made me think of like maybe how old the building is that they took a like colonial building, something that would have been used for like, back in the day criminals. It was questionable about the running water.
It was like an old jailhouse.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean,
what did you think about, so as you'll see in the movie, there's all kinds of protocols that Clarice has to follow because Jack Crawford asks Clarice to go do this because...
And what do you think of that? Because I got thoughts.
I just, like, I think it's interesting because I think it's part of the story. I think it's, like, it creates interest in, like, why would a student be asked to do this? Somebody who's in training, not yet an FBI agent, and also like.
But why do you think Jack? What was his motivation for sending Clarice? Not why is it in the movie?
Right. What was his motivation for doing it? Like.
Because I think it was manipulative as hell. First of all, he knew Lecter would love someone fresh and naive.
Yes. I mean, those are my thoughts.
And Lecter would find her fascinating. But Jack Crawford, he knew her file. He knew her history. He knew that her childhood story, which
would be interesting to him,
and that she carried that trauma, you could tell. So I think for him, she's young, she's pretty.
Yeah.
She's very smart, respectful. He knew, I feel like Silence of the Lambs is also, I almost feel like she was one of the lambs being let in.
She was the sacrificial lamb, is what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yes, I can see that. I wonder, I wonder too, like how much like of like Clarice's sex as a female officer kind of made a difference in this, because I think, again, I haven't read the books, so I don't know Hannibal's whole backstory, but weren't most of his victims men, I thought?
It seemed that, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if he ever had a female victim that but I think most of his victims were men. And also, backstory, because there was there was a horror movie that came out, like, a few years ago, like 10 or 8 years ago, called Hannibal, right?
Yeah.
And it's his backstory from when he was in Germany.
It's a book as well. It's part of the series. And so it goes back to motivation, I guess. You get to learn how was Hannibal created. Mm-hmm. And he was created during World War II. Mm-hmm. His family hid in the woods to avoid the Germans. Mm-hmm. And they had money. They had lived in, not a castle, but something quite fancy in the town. And so, of course, the Germans find them. Mm-hmm. And they ended up, I think everyone ended up, his family was gone, but he had a sister. And they were all starving. And they fed him his sister.
Right.
In a soup.
Yep. Yeah, so I just wonder if
he is a man who is traumatized.
100%.
Yeah.
But and then just it kind of goes into that psychological thing where, like, sorry folks who are listening, but all of what Carrie just said, you don't get any of that in the movie, right?
No.
You don't.
No, you do. Not in Silence of the Lambs.
No.
You get it in Hannibal though.
Right. But so you have to, if you like this movie, if you've never seen it before and you want to know more about Hannibal, you have to watch the other movies. You get more of the backstory of Hannibal by watching the other ones.
Honestly, I would watch them in chronological order of the story. I would start with Hannibal, then Red Dragon, then Silence of the Lambs.
Right, I agree.
And then you have 3 sequels.
Yeah. Which I haven't seen any of those.
Oh, I have.
Okay.
And you have to watch them.
Yeah.
There are scenes that are
I've seen the one that has, what's her face in it?
Julianne Moore.
Yeah, Julianne Moore.
Yeah, she plays Clarice for, I think, the next 2 movies.
Right. There's another one, she did more than one movie as Clarice?
I think so.
Huh.
Because Jodie Foster was kind of like, yeah, I'm good.
Well, she had other things going on.
Well, but also,
I think maybe the movie too traumatized her.
That was a...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you know, fun fact, Wikipedia says that Michelle Pfeiffer was supposed to be Clarice before Jodie?
I did not know that.
But there was, because of the success of the movie The Accused that Jodie was in, that they did some... Michelle Pfeiffer also turned it down because she said it was, like, too much or something like that. It was not a role she wanted, but...
Yeah.
But, I mean, after doing The Accused, Jodie Foster could handle Clarice, for sure.
Yeah, and also, she was... When the movie came out in 91, Foster was 29. Mm-hmm. And she had been a child star, and lucky for her...
Yeah.
She was able to get these juicy, juicy roles that could prove that she was an actress. She wasn't just some kid actor who couldn't convert that into an adult job.
Yeah,
so.
I enjoy Jodie. I think she's great. But what I bring up with Clarice and about her being asked by Jack to go do this, there is some criticism. Part of what I have read online is that about, again, you... saying that, like, Clarice was the sacrificial lamb, but that, like, because of her femininity and because she's a female in a male-dominated area, like law enforcement, but specifically the FBI, they felt like it was, that there was... We see some violence that is acted upon Clarice in the movie, and so they felt like it was like a... fetishizing, to an extent, treating women that way in the movie. I mean,
Okay, so you have Miggs at the beginning.
Yes. Which... Okay, so let me tell you... So I'm going to...
You can deal with that.
Do you want me to... Okay, so what Carrie is referring to, and I'm gonna have a confession, right? This is a podcast confession. Okay, I've seen this movie many times. I saw this movie as a teenager, okay? What Carrie's referring to is there's another inmate that's in the dungeon cell block.
This was the first time, right?
It was when she went to go leave. Yeah. So
he was already rude to her on the way in.
Right. In the first 15 or 20 minutes of the movie, Clarice's meeting Hannibal Lecter. She has to go interview him, right? And we can talk here briefly about how that interview went, but it didn't go well, really, because she was trying to engage with Hannibal, but he's very intelligent. This is not his first rodeo. He basically doesn't give her anything that she wants. And she goes to leave, and there's another inmate there that's in this dungeon cell block that's right next to him, and his name is Miggs. That's what he's referred to. And he is, you can see him, and he's kind of like very feral. He's like, he is not well with it. He is not civilized at all. He's like bouncing, as she walks by him the first time, he's bouncing around his cell.
And he says incredibly rude things.
He says the C-U-N-T word. He says, I can smell your C-U-N-T.
I just like that you spell it.
Well, it's one that I really don't like using, but...
Well, my Scottish heritage tells me that.
Yeah, right? What?
I can totally use it.
Well, then,
in certain circumstances.
I know, right? Feel free, Carrie.
Like if I'm protesting.
You're right. Yeah, with enough gusto to say it. But anyway, he says that to her. I mean, and that's, again, as a woman myself... I'm just not fazed by words. Like, I've heard a bunch of stuff. Mm-hmm. It's like I don't really care about your words. Whatever. Yeah. Those words, those powerful words that you supposedly think you have don't hold anything over me. But, so she walks by. I don't think she's fazed by that. She's just kind of like, she looks at him at uneasy. Yeah, however.
Lecter was impressed because he asked her, I heard Mig say something. What did he say to you?
Yeah.
On your way by. And she told him.
Yeah.
And I think for Lecter, I think that showed for Clarice, she was stronger.
Right.
She didn't break down. She wasn't obviously ashamed to tell him what was said.
Right.
Whereas most women would just spell it.
Right.
And
I don't think, you're right. With that interaction, when Hannibal is asking her about that, I think the scene is not necessarily about him trying to shame her. I do think it's a test. I think he's trying to gauge how she is, because obviously he's never met her, right? So like, this is a test for him to see how is she going to react and tell him this is like that psychiatrist mind of him, right? Like, or sociopath, because in part of the controversy or whatever, the discussion about the movie is about how much of a sociopath or psychopath that Hannibal is. But anyway, I think it was a test more so than him trying to shame her.
Yeah, and then on her way out.
Yeah, so on her way out, what Carrie's referring to, the scene is...
tell it?
Well, no, I can tell it because this is my confession. So Clarice, as she's leaving, because Hannibal basically dismisses her and says, I'm not going to give you what you want. This trip that you've...
he's insulted that Crawford would send a rookie to, like, fumble with his mind and stuff like that.
So he basically sends her away, tells her to get out of there or whatever. Especially because if she doesn't leave, he's going to do something, blah, blah, blah. And... it's interesting to note, like, his cell in this dungeon area is like fiberglass. It's not like the bars that
the other inmates
have, because...
and he's at the end of the row.
Well, yes, and it's because they don't want... The thing is, like, he has to have that because he has grabbed people and then bitten them, eaten parts of their body.
Did that nurse need her done?
Right. Did she? Poor nurse. Poor nurses, as my little nurse heart aches. But anyway, as Clarice is fleeing, right, getting away, Miggs throws something on her, right? You do realize, okay, so this is my confession. When I saw this as a teenager, I didn't know what it was that he threw it on her. I thought it was spit or something. I did not know what it was.
Oh, as a teenager...
Yeah.
I also didn't know what was happening because...
Right.
My school didn't have sex ed.
Right. I didn't know what it was. I thought he was just being gross on her. I thought he spit on her or hawked a loogie, because that's what I thought it was. It is, what happens is as Clarice is trying to interview Lecter, Miggs is masturbating in the cell next door, and as she walks by, he flings his semen on her. And it's an assault. So this is one of the ways that Clarice is assaulted in this movie, right? So that's part of the criticism, is like this type of stuff.
Why would something that I'm sure happens on the regular, probably in a prison. Why is that? You're showing how you abuse women by showing that you're just encouraging it. It's like Miggs is a psychopath.
Yeah.
Miggs is a horrible man.
Right.
They're showing the conditions
Right.
that are taking place here.
Right.
I don't understand why suddenly people. Maybe I'm gonna
catch some heat from this. Yeah.
But I don't think a truthful representation of what goes on in a prison. And it wasn't there for absolutely no reason.
Right.
There was a purpose, because when Miggs did that, Hannibal
felt bad.
Calls
I think
back.
Did.
Yeah, calls back Clarice, and he says, "I'm so sorry. That was rude, or that was whatever." Yeah. And then he agrees to help her.
Right.
So it wasn't just like, you know what we should do?
Well,
we should have Jodie Foster walk by and have some guy pretend to fling semen on her.
Right.
No, it moved the story along, and it got it to where Hannibal was willing to work with her.
Well, and I think he felt bad to an extent because, I mean...
He didn't like rudeness.
Right.
He wanted...
He was a level above Miggs, who's basically an animal. So I think the fact that there even could be, in her mind, an association between the two of them because they're in the same area, I think he couldn't stand for that and was like, I have to. But again...
He was a proper gentleman.
Well, but having it come back to himself, though, right? It all kind of comes back to Hannibal. Did he truly care about her having been essentially sexually assaulted by having semen thrown on her? No. I think he was... more upset about it because of the reflection it would have on him, which is a true narcissist, sociopathic type thing anyway.
Yeah. And maybe it's just because I don't think, and I don't know, maybe there are men who are subhuman who would watch that and think, my God, the next time I'm at the park, I'm going to masturbate and fling stuff on women. But I don't think that would encourage a mentally healthy and secure person to then decide to go fling
semen.
Yeah. You know, I want to say a different word.
I know. We'll keep it kosher around here.
Do you see that as something that should not be on film?
I think no. Well, I think that we need to be horrified by those things.
Oh, yeah.
I think with us having a connection in the movie to Clarice and not looking at her as just a one-dimensional person that has no thoughts, feelings, where we can't have compassion for her, I think that having things happen to her that are like that are horrifying. And I think that there's a message being conveyed. There's a thought being conveyed. There's morality, ethics that we're trying to convey in that, right? I think not talking about it, because it does happen. It happens to people. Pretending like it doesn't solve any problems. However, I do think on film and in TV shows, movies, mostly on film, because film can get away with a lot more stuff that TV shows can't. There's been criticism of shows like Game of Thrones and other things about glorifying violence and especially sexual violence. I think there's a way that it could have been done distastefully or glorified. I don't think it's being glorified. I think it's being made to be a horrific act. So, no, I don't think that anything would have been made better by leaving it out. I don't think anything is made worse by keeping it in. So,
yeah, I mean, I'm pretty certain. Yeah, that's in the book as a way to move the story forward. And I think when society starts saying, let's hide the bad stuff so no one knows about, to me that's censorship.
Well, that, and also too, like, in terms of mental health, like, did people get better by us ignoring traumatic things that have happened to people? No, nothing happened.
And oh my God, every time I see that scene, I think I would have died. I would have just cried and curled up on the floor. I would have been so traumatized by it. So yeah, I mean, of course I think of Clarice's feelings in that moment.
Right.
I probably, I would have just asked Hannibal if I could get in the cell with him. It's like, I'm scared.
Help me.
Protect me.
So yeah, and then from that scene, he agrees to help, and then what we see for most of the rest of the movie is Clarice is going to help Jack Crawford solve another series of serial killings that is being perpetrated by a different
serial killer.
Yeah.
Yeah, and really, that's... Well, they had the survey they wanted him to fill out, but the motivation really, I think, was to get him to help on the case, wasn't it? Like, why?
I don't know. Well, you mean like the timing of things,
Yeah,
maybe?
the timing of it. Like, they're like...
Do you think it's because Jack Crawford knew that Hannibal was interested in other serial killers?
I think Crawford knew that Hannibal would be keeping track and possibly be in contact. Mm-hmm. And which had happened before, if you go chronologically.
Yeah.
So, and I think it's like, yeah, he's an evil bastard.
Right.
But we can use him
Right.
to get what we need to help someone.
Right.
Because he mentions it, like, one of the first things. He's like, so what about the...
Oh, when she comes back, you mean?
The shy boy. Yeah.
Yeah, well, and, you know, it's a way to get Hannibal to help, in quotations, without officially putting him on the payroll of the FBI or getting him any kind of leniency or whatever, except they do arrange for him to be moved, right? Like, that was his reward. Yeah. Yeah, and then all hell breaks loose. Yeah. And actually, okay, as part of...
Well, it was a lie.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and so... I want to kind of get back to the other serial killer in the movie that's at hand, which is Buffalo Bill, which is another... I mean, I don't think actually he's talked about enough because Buffalo Bill gets talked about pretty frequently in pulp culture and things like that, too. I mean, obviously, Hannibal Lecter is, like, iconic, but Buffalo Bill is also another, you could say, iconic character.
I mean, even if you don't mention his name... How many times has the idea of making a skin suit out of somebody?
Yep. Spoilers, people.
Like, come up just as a joke or, stuff like that. It's in the culture. It's in the zeitgeist.
Right. But before we start talking about Buffalo Bill, all I wanted to say was in my research of what I was looking at in terms of the reception, critical acclaim, or just reactions to the movie, in general for Silence of the Lambs, that Hannibal's escape scene, because that's basically what it is, spoilers for people, is that Hannibal basically arranges for himself to be, he gets himself out of the custody of whatever, I don't know if they're federal crimes or federal prison. Anyway, he basically escapes, and he arranges it so that, because he's going to get moved, and then because he's not in, I mean, he's heavily guarded, but he arranges for himself to attack. I don't really want to go into a whole lot of detail, because I don't want to make anybody queasy, but basically he attacks guards that are watching him, and he is able to manipulate bodies that are there to make it look like he...
escaped.
He escaped. Like, so he escapes, but he tricks them. He gets them going in one direction.
Because he has to get out of the building.
But I mean, long story short, he takes the face off of one of the guards and he puts it on his face.
And dresses in the policeman's uniform.
Right. And EMTs, which I don't know how, I mean, again, it's for the story, but I think if you were an EMT trained in real life, you would probably see that something was wrong with the face and would want to investigate it. But basically, Hannibal puts the literal face of the guard, because he has taken it off, he's taken the skin off and put it on his face, and he is able to escape with EMTs. And then he attacks the EMTs and gets out of the ambulance.
He was on a spree for sure.
He does.
And just a quick aside.
What?
Every time I watch that movie, and they show the SWAT team, I'm like, Chris Isaac.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was weird because I don't think I've ever seen him act. He was a singer. He is a singer back in the day. Wicked Game. Okay, people?
I mean, but that's about all he's known for. Because the other thing he's known for is about sexually harassing Cameron Diaz on... Have you seen this about the MTV Awards? You need to look up... So this is a 90s thing. So the Mask that had Cameron Diaz and Jim Carrey. It was nominated for an MTV award or something, and it won. I think Jim Carrey won an award, but Cameron Diaz was up there with Chris Isaac doing the presentation for the award. Chris Isaac sexually assaults her almost. He's groping her on the stage. Nobody intervenes. You need to look it up. He basically kisses her. She can't do anything. She's presenting an award and she's trying to get him away, and he like really gets up on her and kisses her in front of like live television. He's obviously very drunk. You can't. Chris Isaac is intoxicated. You can tell. Google this. Anybody listening, Google Chris Isaac, Cameron Diaz, Jim Carrey. You'll find it, because Jim Carrey goes up there on stage to accept the award, and he kisses Chris Isaac on the mouth.
Good.
Yep. Anyway, and I think people thought it was a bit, like I think
like a setup.
It wasn't at the time. Jim Carrey has talked about how he did it to avenge Cameron Diaz because he didn't like what his co-star was. Yeah. Anywho, so that is Hannibal's escape in the movie. But the other parts of the movie is Clarice is working with Jack Crawford in the behavioral analysis unit to figure out who Buffalo Bill is. So Buffalo Bill is another serial killer who's killing women at the time that this is going on. And what he's doing is he's killing women and he's taking parts of their skin, right? He's removing skin. They don't know why. They don't know why this is happening, but all of his victims have had some part of their body skinned.
And they've all lost weight. They're all much smaller. They're big girls, as they say.
Yeah.
And then you can tell that when they find them that they've lost quite a bit of weight.
Right. So it's just that's what they know about the victims, but otherwise they don't know who it is or why he would be doing it. What we come to find out as Clarice is investigating this is that Buffalo Bill, as he's being named in the media, that's his name, and kind of what motivates this search is that the last victim, the person who gets taken, is the daughter of a congresswoman. So she gets the FBI involved because it's obviously her daughter. She's a elected official, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. So, and that's where the famous quote, the line, "It puts the lotion on its skin." Right? That's, I can't say it in that. It puts
the lotion in the basket as well.
Yep. And it puts the lotion on its skin. And that comes from the fact that Buffalo Bill is keeping these women that he kidnaps.
In a well.
In
his basement.
Yeah. Right.
I don't know where that. Why is there a well in the basement?
Because, well, I think there's some homes that were.
You think?
Yeah, that would have been built.
I would have thought it would have been like really fancy houses that, we want our own water supply in the house.
Yeah, but I don't know. I think it. I don't know. I think it probably saved a lot of like time and distance if you had it in the basement rather than having your house built away from it.
And it's in Ohio.
Oh yeah, it does take place in Ohio.
Belvedere?
Yeah, which is near the West Virginia border.
Yep.
Yeah. So it's right over the line, which is, I think that's part of why the FBI gets involved, right? Isn't it because the bodies are they're dumped.
They're being dumped in different places and
different across state lines.
And one of the reasons that they were having trouble was that the timeline of victims was off because the first victim was found third.
Yeah.
And so it was hard for them to trace back to the original town and how she would have known the killer.
Right. But yeah, basically...
And can I...
Go ahead.
Buffalo Bill is played by Ted Levine, who played the police sergeant on Monk.
He did, yes.
He did, and he was
much
brilliant.
Later. He was. That's a good role, and then I was much older when I made that connection, because I thought they were totally two different people.
Yeah.
Definitely doesn't look anything. He did age well.
But he is an unhinged man.
In the movie.
I don't know why he didn't get nominated.
I don't know either, because he should have been a supporting actor.
Yeah, because...
Yeah. Because he did well, but the famous line of "it puts the lotion on his skin" comes from the fact that he's kidnapping these women, and like as Carrie's kind of indicating, he's starving them to make them lose a bunch of weight so their skin is more elastic, because he takes their skin. What does he do, as Carrie said a little bit ago? Makes a skin suit. He's trying to become a woman.
And Lecter had made the comment that he believed this person had been rejected by a hospital that would help with transitioning.
Right.
So, and he had been rejected for psychological reasons. And he had killed one of Lecter's patients, who was also transitioning.
Right. Well, and that is where the other controversy with this film comes up. So there's lots of criticism to talk about the negative light that it casts for the LGBTQ plus community, because the premise, right, we don't actually hear this from Buffalo Bill, but like, as you said, Hannibal's kind of painting this picture of Buffalo Bill wanting to be transitioned to female. And so it's about the association between people who are transitioning and then possibly being sociopaths and killers. Like, it's because there's an association with the fact that the crimes that Buffalo Bill is committing, it's in relation to his want, need, desire to transition, and he can't, right? Yeah. So he's killing people.
And it was interesting because one of Hannibal's little comments to Clarice was, how do we covet? We covet what we see every day. So he was coveting these women.
Yeah, because his first victim was a neighbor.
And the way, because they couldn't figure out why there were these patterns cut out on the skin. And it wasn't until Clarice went to the first victim's house and opened a closet. She was a seamstress.
Right.
And she saw the pattern pinned to fabric. And that's when she realized it.
Yeah, the fabric pieces, because they seemed very similar to the cuts of skin. Yeah. So, obviously, so there's criticism about the movie maybe making that negative association between someone who is maybe of the community, although looking up what I could see is, his sexual orientation, and also, again, we don't hear from Buffalo Bill his wanting to be female, right?
Right.
What we just see, like you've said, is kind of this unhinged behavior of him, obviously caring nothing about another human being, starving them, killing them, taking their skin. Yeah, depersonalization, right?
And turning his little dog into a fucking bitch.
Right, absolutely.
Who harassed her.
Well, and who would, like, gnaw on human bones, right? Like, essentially, yeah. But, yeah, anyway, there is some concern about what this movie is trying to communicate about maybe people who are in the community.
Yeah, and you know what? Back then, I mean, we didn't even have AZT yet, I don't think, by 91 or when the book was written.
Yeah.
So here you are in the AIDS epidemic. People were not nice, and I don't think a lot of people at that time, because of how secretive the LGBTQ plus community had to be just to keep safe. Yeah, I mean, that just added to people's fears, which is just stupid.
Yeah.
But I think because just of, family history, I had been around people who were quote unquote different, from the rest of society. So I always saw Buffalo Bill. I never saw him as truly wanting to transition.
Right.
I saw him as a person who was he was on the level of Miggs, in my opinion.
Right. Well,
he was so mentally ill. Like, let's say you do want to transition.
Right.
I've never met anyone who has transitioned who has been like, yeah, if I wasn't allowed, I was going to start murdering people and taking off their skin.
Right.
It's more nuanced than just, but I don't think at that time.
Right.
People could see that.
Right. I think there's a level of psychosis, right, for Buffalo Bill, because there is this, as part of the storyline, what Clarice is starting to piece together too is this belief that Buffalo Bill has about transformation because of the moths that are turning into, they're caterpillars, and
the
they
deadhead
turn
moths, yeah.
Exactly. And how they transform. They're these caterpillar looking things, and then they transform into these moths with beautiful wings, things like that, right? So he's trying to transform himself by doing these horrendous acts, but, there's a psychosis because, that he's in his mind, he's making this association that he's going to transform like a moth does from one kind of
being into another.
Right, but that's not how science works and world works and things like that. So
Sure.
I'm positive. So yeah, don't doubt me on that. But yeah, so there's a psychosis, there's a delusion happening. So yeah, I agree with you. I think it's less, even though as a person who's not a trans person and I'm not in the LGBTQ plus community,
right.
I could see how, especially because as we've talked about, this movie is very well known.
Yeah, I can't imagine the abuse that people took who were transitioning after that.
Right. Yeah.
I guess the thing that I have to remember is that some people are just willfully ignorant and they don't care, and they see someone who's living their life in a different way than they would.
Right.
And there you go.
Yeah, well, and the thing is, this is now over 30 years from when this movie came out, so I think probably at the time, maybe initial criticism for it could have been warranted. Did
that criticism come out in 91, or are these think pieces years later?
Let me try and bring it up.
I don't know if people in 91 would have cared.
So this came out it was a Vanity Fair article in 2021.
Yeah.
About criticizing, the portrayal of Buffalo Bill and what the wanting to transition, or at least the transsexual nature of it, because again, he's not acting like a woman, but he's dressing like a woman in secret. Again, he's doing these things to women. I don't know. There's just that article from Vanity Fair came out in 2021. So I don't know. I didn't read the article. I'm just looking at the summary.
My thing is that hindsight's 2020.
Right.
I mean, yeah, okay, 30 years later they write an article, and look at how far we've come since 1991 in accepting the LGBTQ plus community. So yeah. I don't know. I think we're using today's arguments on something that was made 30 years ago in such a completely different environment.
Right.
And I think it's important to recognize these, I mean, really, sometimes just microaggressions in movies that make it normal.
Right.
But I don't know the purpose of going back and saying that movie, it was bad. It's like, yeah, we know they treated people horribly.
We still treat people horribly.
Yeah. It's like, we get it.
Right.
I think you could use more modern examples.
Right.
Than something that is so far disconnected from 2021 when that was written.
Do you have to get up, or are you changing position?
I was getting
feisty.
I'm riled.
You're riled? Okay.
I'm riled, and I don't know why, except that maybe it's just because it's art as well. But
well, yeah, I mean, the thing to keep in mind is, though, too, why would maybe we still be, offended or intrigued, or why do we still talk about this movie? Like, why?
It's amazing.
Well, but also too, if we look at the crimes, right? Like, again, I think it's just a travesty, and I think it's just unnerving of the fact that he's making skin suits just out of people. I don't think it matters that they're women. I think it would be as bizarre, right, if it was men.
Yeah.
But I think it's just the idea of taking somebody else's body, mutilating it for your own purpose and things like that.
Right.
Right. I think there's another level of it because he's a man doing it to women. We know that violence, we could talk a lot about violence, but violence of men versus women, and I'm talking about cis men and women, because it's a whole different conversation, as we talked about with the Brandon Tina story about like violence against trans women, trans men, but like just throughout history, violence between men and women. we could talk hours and hours about that situation. But I think it's just another level. Because again, violence between men, violence between women, it's treated differently than between the sexes, right? You know, like, it just is. It's another layer.
You know, I would love to know even more about Buffalo Bill's history.
Yeah.
And where he's coming from, because I'm not saying that him making a skin suit out of people isn't horrendous.
Right.
And that we shouldn't be upset by it.
I think they could totally make a movie that's like a prequel to like before he starts murdering people. Like his descent into madness.
Yeah.
So, hey, movie idea, anyone who's listening.
We'll write it. We can write it for him.
You want us to write a screenplay that's...
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, Harris didn't write a book like that, so...
So we'll take it from him?
We'll take it.
We'll have to ask his...
Variations on a theme.
Before we maybe talk about another character in this movie, the end of the story is Buffalo Bill does get caught. Clarice catches him. She figures out who he is. She basically calls in for backup, and Jack Crawford...
They're all in Chicago, and she's in Ohio.
Right. Well, and Jack Crawford tells her to wait for when they get there, but she is worried that in the meantime, he's going to kill the congresswoman's daughter. Yeah. So she goes in there. She thinks that, I mean, Clarice basically thinks that she could outsmart him, you know? Maybe she gets a little bit emboldened by Hannibal, like, is like, I'm gonna...
Well, you would feel almost like, oh no, I know how to treat this guy.
Right.
I'm friends with Hannibal Lecter.
Right. But, I mean, you know, what we see is there's this episode where... the event that happens is Clarice is going to try and catch him, and he ends up going into his basement. He's going to try to evade her, and he's using his home base, like his home environment, to, you know, cut out the lights and, like, confuse her and things like that. But
he put on night vision goggles. It was just wild.
Oh, yeah. Which you wonder, like, what he used that for. Probably for stalking his victims,
Probably,
you would think. But also, too, you could see him wanting to torture people that way.
And, oh, my God, that basement. I was like...
Yeah.
Does this basement have tunnels under it to, like, other places? Because it was so huge.
It's a maze. Yeah, it's a maze of all these weird
and it had
rooms
all this
and stuff.
Crap in it. And, and a dead homeowner in a bathtub.
Right, wasn't that his...
that was the old lady.
The old lady, yeah, whose house it was, yeah. So it must have smelled lovely down there.
Jesus.
Mm-hmm. So that's the end of the story, and then Clarice has kind of gotten accommodations, accolades for her involvement in this. But I know, Carrie,
she graduated.
She did. And Hannibal was super proud of her.
Yeah, he really was.
But I think you wanted to talk about Dr. Chilton.
Oh, well, just a quick, anyone who has seen this movie, I mean, and he plays a vital role in the end.
Yeah.
So, he was the doctor in charge of Hannibal, and he had been trying to interview Hannibal and write a paper on him, and he very much didn't want to be left out of the loop. And he was just like...
He was creepy.
He was such a creep. I wrote in my notes, I said, Chilton, possible psychopath.
Right.
Because he really just... He wanted to torture Hannibal into telling him...
Right.
What he wanted to know. And then Chilton finds out about the plan to take Hannibal. They had promised him a better facility and a month on an island once a year in a nice part. It was all a lie.
Yeah.
And so Hannibal told Chilton some things and said, I will only say the rest of where this girl is
to Clarice,
if I will only tell the congresswoman. So they...
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
And that's when he gets off the plane in that famous... He's on a dolly.
He's being wheeled around like a mummy.
The mask, Best part of that interaction with the congresswoman was when he said, Congresswoman, love the shoes.
Yeah. Yep. Just unnerving, you know? Like how Hannibal can do
and
that.
So Chilton, I mean, what a creep. So at the end, after Clarice graduates, she gets a phone call from her bestie, Dr. Lecter. And he tells her, you don't have to worry about me. I will never come after you. The world is a much more interesting place with you in it.
Right.
And he said
he respects her on some level.
he does.
Yeah, it's just,
And
as with sociopaths.
it's a mutual.
Yeah, but it's kind of like, you have to use it with some caution, because obviously one of those people is very.
He will absolutely kill her.
Absolutely, yeah. But if he can respect her on some level, he is giving value to her, whereas Hannibal has obviously not given value to other people that he has killed or things like that. It's just interesting when you think about it as.
Yeah. And so he tells Clarice that he was having a friend for dinner, and he's sitting in this little open cafe on a phone, and here comes Chilton off the plane, off this little plane on this island. It looked like it might have been Haiti or something.
Yeah, it was south.
Yeah. And then he followed Chilton through the crowd, and that's how it ended. So I hope he was tasty.
Yeah.
And worth it.
Yeah. But
for all the prep work.
Right. And it's just, it's interesting to wonder, did Hannibal go after him out of revenge for himself? Because we know Chilton tried to make his life kind of hellish,
And he also screwed over Clarice.
Yeah, I wonder if it was, and he also, was inappropriate to her, trying to hit on her, he was trying to go around her in terms of these interviews and getting information from Lecter, I don't know. It's just...
And, I mean, that was great for Lecter, because he could play two ends against the middle and get out.
Right. Yeah. So, overall, this is a great movie. I love this movie. I've seen this movie so many times. It's it's a comfort movie. So, like we've talked about comfort movies, this is a comfort movie for me, even though it's about terrible things. I don't know what that says about me, but,
It means you're wonderful.
It means I am, special, I guess we'll say.
Well, I'm only friends with special people.
Yeah.
Look at my friend group.
We could say a lot about that.
Yeah.
But, your thoughts, Carrie, do you share that?
I love this movie.
Yeah.
I remember watching it, not in theaters, but on VHS.
Yeah.
And
I think I first saw it on VHS too, probably. Yeah.
Because my parents weren't going to go to the theater. It was rated R.
Yeah.
And watch it.
Yeah, I think we had the VHS of it. Now that I think back, I think we owned. I don't think we rented it. I think we owned it because my parents also like this movie. My dad quotes Hannibal all the time. The Chianti. I think you quoted. I think you did it in one of our episodes where.
Chianti.
Yes, my dad said this probably would go with a nice Chianti. Yeah.
But I think I'll probably watch this movie dozens more times before I die.
Probably. You'll be on your deathbed and it'll be in the background.
It's like, can we put something on to make you more comfortable?
Yeah.
Silence of the Lambs.
Or as you like to refer in text messages, because I'm so dumb, SOTL. And I texted Carrie back, everybody who's listening. I was like, SOTL, what are you talking about? And I told her I'm dumb. What is this referring to?
I was like, honestly, I normally have a quick reply for things. And I
think you put me out of my misery by just telling me what it was.
Well, but that was after you had said, "Never mind, I'm dumb." I was typing that at the same time.
No, but
because I sat there in a little bit of stunned silence.
No, I still didn't know what you were referring to because you and I were texting about something else and then talking about recording, and I was like, "What is she talking about?" My brain wasn't there, Carrie. So my apology of me saying I'm dumb was in advance of you actually telling me what you meant by that.
Your little babies are taking all of your sanity.
Yeah.
Ooh, best part.
Yeah. And it's time for Carrie to pick too. Oh. So you should shake it up pretty good. There's just a lot in the jar of fate, and And as we've had trouble before with me and Carrie picking more than one, then we have to shove the other one back in there. Carrie just hit herself in the face.
With the jar.
Yeah. And the jar has a pretty hefty, that's a solid wood lid.
Because Kenzie decides it should be glass with a heavy wooden lid.
Oh, well, I
love it. It's cute.
I just think it's appropriate.
Yeah. Yep.
You're still recording, don't worry. Carrie thought she turned the mic off, everybody.
I've done it before. Mm-hmm. Oh. That wasn't satisfying.
She goes for the satisfactory one every time. One only, remember. I know that they're folded strangely, but
No, I like that because you can't see.
Right. Yeah, I try to keep it,
Okay.
hidden. Okay.
The next movie.
I can't do a drum roll. That's my drum roll.
Requiem for a Dream.
Oh my God. Okay, so listen. Okay. This was my suggestion. Love this movie. Have not seen it in years, but
I've never seen it.
Somebody responded to us when we first started the podcast, and we were like kind of notifying everybody on the social media webs about that we were going to be doing this podcast. Somebody responded for me to let them know when we were going to do Requiem for a Dream because they wanted to listen to the episode. So I will have to notify that person because I saved the. You've never seen it before?
I've never seen it.
Oh, you're in for a ride, Carrie. But yeah, somebody wanted me to notify them when we did an episode about it because they wanted to listen to the episode. So yeah.
Well, I'm excited. I love seeing things I've not seen 100 times.
Great. What do you got there?
I was starting to clean up.
Multitasking.
I brought the jar over and started to clean.
So that, folks, is the indication for the end of the episode. So,
and that's it. My attention is gone.
And then we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Much Madness Podcast. Please remember to like, subscribe, and comment on our podcast episodes.
You can find the episodes on every major streaming platform wherever you get your podcasts.
And don't forget to check out our website at www.muchmadnesspodcast.com. You can leave comments, you can suggest movies, and interact with us.
We also have social media pages. We have the Much Madness Podcast on Facebook. We also have at Much Madness Pod on Instagram. And we also have a TikTok, much.madness.podc. Please be sure to interact with us on our social media too, and we look forward to hearing from you. Until next time.